All right, so it's let's say 3 years now. 3 years ago, I had done my first post on YouTube. Hello, guys. My name is Idon Sosa, aka the Dean of Image Faculty. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, I don't know how to do these things. I'm always behind the camera, but sitting in front of the camera is very boring. I mean, really, very, very boring. For now, let's just see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do, some time ago, I created this thing called Adobe Makeup, where I completely transformed a lady who had no makeup on the face to complete makeup done with Adobe Photoshop. So I'm going to expose all the secrets that I had done, my process, everything step by step, how I did it. So for now, let's just go back straight to the screen. This is what the image looks like, as a raw file. It has all the blemishes, the skin is not perfect and all. So what I did, first of all, was to take out the blemishes. You can see the before and the after. I took out all the blemishes, and then the next thing I did was to do dodge and bond, just to shape the face a little bit. So this is before and this is after. So I also did a bit of liquify around the hair, just to shape it a little bit. And so this is the dodge, add a bit of shape to the face. Okay, let's go straight to the business of the day. So first I want to work on the eyes, because that seems to be the most difficult part of the whole process. Once you can get the eyes sorted, you don't have an issue. So I'm going to create a new empty layer. I'm just going to try as much as possible to fix the brow. So on my dodge and bond layer, I'm just going to take out all that unwanted strand of hair. Just going to take them out. I'm going to be very detailed in this tutorial so that you can learn. It might be a bit too long, but it will be worth it. On your new empty layer, create a brush, and I'm going to reduce the size of the brush. Let me just put it on the skin for you to see what it looks like. You can see what it looks like there. So I'm going to reduce it more, and then I'm just going to strike it across that way. It's more like a random thing. I also can come in between if I want the eyebrows to be very thick. And so do I take it all the way down here too. So it's like implanting hair or making the eye grow fuller. So something like that. Okay, so when I'm done, I can use my eraser tool to shape it more where I don't want. I take it out where I don't want to, like I showed you before and after. So reduce opacity slightly so it gets to blend with the original hair. So all where I can't find strands, I'm just going to fill it in. So back to my dodge and bond layer, and then taking out all the unwanted hair again. So again, if you look at it this way, you can see that the brow is fuller now. Okay. And let's go back there, open it again, just to show you in case you want to put some more, just to fill up. Alright, so I wouldn't do too much. In my process of retouching, I like to make things very subtle so it's not far from reality. Okay. So the next thing I want to do now is to work on the eyelids. I'm going to choose or create a new empty layer again. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to label them. So this is the eye, flash. Okay, and this one is the eyelid. Okay, so I'm going to pick any color that I want, and somewhere around here and pick a very light version of it, and then use my regular soft brush at 100%, and try it like that all the way down. So I'm going to use my eraser just to make sure everything sits well. Change my blending mode to multiply, and I can now use my eraser tool to clean up where I don't want to. Okay. I'm just using the edge of the soft brush to blend it. You can now see what that does. Straight out. And just clean this a little bit. And same color, I'm going to take it to the other part of the eye too, and I'll brush it. So I might want to create a new layer, or I can actually work on the same layer, depends. So let's work on the same layer. So my brush again, and I take that all the way this way. Then I'm going to carefully erase to carefully take it out where I don't want it. Okay, so let's look at the eye again. Let's see, I think we have some of the color here. I'm going to erase that out now. Okay, so let's carefully look at it. That's like the first stage. Remember, the blending mode is multiply. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now is sit on the eye. So I'm going to put the eye property. I'll come to any part of the face, pick a color, and then I want to brush it on a new empty layer. This way. I want to increase this a little bit. Okay, so let's change this again to multiply. And then I can use the part that I don't want, because I want it to sit right here. So I'm painting a bit of the part that I need. I will extend this a little bit because I'm going to brush it more out. So I soften that edge by taking an eraser, increase it, and just use the edge to create that sort of thing. Alright, so if you look at this, you will see that the skin details are not really, popping the way it should. So there's this technique called blending. So I'm coming back to this part of the eye, double click on it, press Alt down and split this into two, and that brings all the skin detail back. Same I'm going to do here. Double click on this, press Alt down, and then bring back my skin details. I'm sure you can see how that sits very well on it. Okay, so this is it without the blending, and with blending, this is how it sits. It brings back all the skin tone the way I would want it. So it's press OK and look at it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, so I'm trying to create different layers which I'm going to blend in when I'm done. So I want to create some form of highlights here. So I'll create a new layer. My eyedropper to pick the brightest part of the screen, and then I'm going to still take it all the way up to be brighter, and I'm going to brush it. This way. Okay, so you want to try different blending options. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at normal blending mode, and I'm going to reduce my opacity a little bit, and then erase it from the eyebrow area. And also here. Extend my eraser tool and take the soft part and just blend it in a little bit that way. Okay. So again, I'm going to do the blend 8. Double click on the layer, use my blend 8, and then just crop it a little bit. Also see a bit of that skin texture. Alright, so I want to soften the edges of my transitions. So I'm going to use an eraser tool and then soften this edge a little bit. Good. Okay, so the next layer I'm going to create is an empty layer that is going to take a very dark shade somewhere around there. Let's do something very dark, like somewhere there, and then put it all the way here. So it shoots all the way like this way, and like that. And maybe I'll extend it this way. Okay, so now I use my eraser tool, and then balance it that way. This way. I want to soften this transition a little bit more, so I use that part of my brush to soften it a little bit. I'm also making sure that this falls like a straight line. Okay, so eraser tool again, and I just brush it all the way out there. So the same thing we want to do here. Let's use the same color we had here. So I want to brush this one with a slightly lighter color like we did before. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add a bit of, brightness, just to add some drama to the eye, brightness to the eye here. So I'm just going to brush white there, white there, and I'm going to go to filter, blur, motion blur. So I'm going to soften it that way, and then I'm going to reduce opacity that way, and then erase the part that I don't want from the eyes. Let me just zoom in so you can see what we're doing. So I erase it from the part of the eyes that I don't want. Okay, same here. Okay, so you see what that looks like now. Let's see, we want to increase it. And that's, I'm going to increase it. I'm going to blend all this at the end of the day. Let me go straight to the lip now. Hit a new empty layer, and I'm going to use red and paint it over the lip with a brush, soft brush. So paint it over the lip this way. The full brushing it that way. The change will blend more to multiply, and that looks nice, but it's not perfect yet. So you like to double click on this and then go straight to blend it, press alt down, and then bring back all the details. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, you want to reduce opacity, you have that option here. Somewhere around there. So let's say 80. Okay. So we have that. That's like what it looks like. You can see the before and see the after. Okay, at this point I want to go straight up to frequency separation, and I use beauty retouch panel. I'm going to do like 10 to my radius. And I'm going to brush with my mixer brush tool, and let's see what it looks like. So it's going to be like me blending through the makeup. So let's start with the eye, and if you want to soften this edge, you can actually blend it in more to soften it if you want to. So then come here and blend this more. It's so amazing when you see what the result looks like. Let's see what it looks like here. Then blend this one more. So let's work on the skin generally. I'm just going to use my mixer brush tool to brush over the whole skin. Okay, when I'm done with the whole skin work, I want to create like merge a layer so I can see what I'm doing. And basically, I would like to use, so you have an option of either saying, oh, okay, maybe if you don't like that part like this, you can take this one out if you don't like it. And then you can go back to your frequency separation again. So it depends on the style that you want to do in terms of makeup, and then you can blend this in. You can blend that, blend it more like that. Yeah. So I just want to soften it up. So it depends on what you want. Okay, so we are almost there, and I'm going to clear out some details. So for the eye, again, I want to create a new empty layer, and I'm going to create a black color under the eye, reduce it very well, and then brush just under the eye that way. Okay. Just pick it up and remove this part. I think on the over. Let's move that part. So what I want to do now is to use my eraser to soften the edge a little bit more. And same here, soften that. And then I can shift it in to the part that where I want it to be. I can also tweak it by moving it this way if I want. Yeah, so move it into where I want. And then don't forget to drop your opacity. Remember, everything has to be very subtle and very realistic. So I'm putting my opacity down. 68. And let's see how it looks. Maybe I want to brush this part in here. The next thing I would want to do is to do my global guiding down. So I'll make this layer my global guiding down. I will do that with this. And then I'll just bond the layers and dodge my fluid at 1 and just indicate all the way that way. Yeah. So for the eyes, the white part of the eyes, I'm going to do magic eyes, still on beauty. It's such an amazing plugin, an extension there. So I use it basically for almost everything I do. So it has this part when you say clean eyes, and I'm going to use it to just clean the white part of the eyes. Okay, so for the cheekbone, I'm just going to add a bit of color to it. I think that's what the makeup artist called blush. So I have this folder I created some time ago, and in there you have colors in this way, dark and intensity. And I swap the colors here, and I choose whatever color I want for the blush there. So let's just brush this over. So I let it flow a bit into the hair, and I bring it all the way down that way. Okay, so I think that's nice. Let's see what the before and after. This is the before, that's the after. And the next thing I would want to do now is to sit back and look at the image, the overall image, at the full screen. F will give you your full screen, and then you can look at the image and then think of what you think is popping in your eyes, something that's looking very unrealistic. And for me, I think like if I look at the eyes, the white part of the eye where I have put is too much, so I'm going to come in and blend it a little bit more. So let's go to frequency separation and see how we can reduce that transition. So this is the part I'm talking about. I'm going to use my mixer brush tool, and I'm going to try as much as possible to reduce the intensity of the white. Okay, so I come over to this other part again and then blend it more. All I want to do is just to make it look more realistic. So I'm blending it more. Yeah. So if you want to look at the before and the after, you can see before that looked very good, and this is after a very subtle transition. Okay. So again, I look at the image and I think I like what I've done. And if you are an extra person, if you want to do a bit more extra, I would like to add a bit of glitter to the eye. So this is how I do the whole glitter thing. You just go online basically and download. I have this thing that I had downloaded, and drag it in here. Just type glitter on Google and drag it, save that and drag it in. So what I'm going to do with the glitter is to resize it a little bit to get to that part of the eye. Okay, let me zoom for you guys to see what I'm doing. So resize it this way. Great. So I would want to rasterize this, so I can tweak it if I want to. I'm going to change this to just after screen is color then. Okay, so I do it that way. And I look at the most intense part where we have a lot of details and I'll put it that way. Okay, so then what I'm going to do now is I'll try to duplicate it because I think it's not enough. So let's duplicate the data and then I can resize or rotate. Press enter, duplicate it again, and then we take this other way around, and then we can just shift it just to show variations. Right. So at that point, I think I can group them together and then add a mask to it. Use that brush and then take it out. So we have that glitter now. Take it off the lashes. Take it off here. Let's see what it looks like. Boom. With that glitters in the eyes. Okay, so I look at it like that way. I can now decide to say, oh, maybe I want to make it more, just to make it more brighter. And I have more of it there. With this now, you can see all before, you can see it after. This is makeup completely done with Adobe Photoshop. I'm sure you guys learned a lot. If I must tell you, it came as a result of me being bored, playing around with Photoshop, and then boom, the magic came. So if you're bored, you can just pick up Photoshop, play around it, you can never tell what will happen. Alright, so stay tuned on this channel as we are going to be giving you more educational content on Photoshop, photography, lighting, retouching, color grading, and anything you will be expecting. Don't forget to subscribe and also click the notification bell. Okay, so let's have the backlight. Turn it opposite this other way. Yeah, and then we can hide the cable a little bit. Maybe they feel like subdued now. This one don't blow it that. Oh God, stand up, John. Make I sit down, make them test, make them see what I. Only you they do waka pass for set. Make them kukuma they subscribe for the channel. Let me say I will do video, then they watch them. Oh, this YouTube thing now, wahala, long thing. Oh, what? Now give away everybody they find. I want to do this thing. I will cut.